Hey, it's Curly. Today we're going to be playing Dark Irregulars. Did not want to be matched up against Dark Irregulars myself. So we finally got new Dark Irregular support since like God knows when. We got a little trickle of it in Fighters Collection with the new Amon Stride, but that really didn't do too much, and it wasn't really much that you can really do with the existing support in order to use the Amon Stride. At least for my experience, it just seemed kind of no difference in the Legion really, but now we actually got a new dedicated G archetype, I guess, in Scharhrot Vampir here. And I've been messing around with this a lot since it came out, and it's actually pretty good. It's a very strange deck in that it does just about everything, right? It is able to retire your opponent's back row, so can somewhat control them. You have Gwen the Reaper to also control and retire front row, getting some extra attacks. You can technically multi-attack, right? You have a guard restrict on 2 of your strides that come in with a lot of power. You have a board wipe, right? You can draw cards, you can put cards, triggers back into your deck, all these kinds of things, right? However, the vast majority of these things are just random occurrences that you don't have too much control over, right? When it comes to soul charging, you don't have a huge control over what goes into your soul. You also can't really take stuff out of your soul aside from like 1 or 2 different cards, right? You can't choose what you retire, right? So it is a very good deck, but sort of balanced, right? Even though it does like all these different things, it's kind of balanced in the fact that, you know, as always, you can deck out, because it's Dark Irregulars, right? You have to have like half your deck into your soul in order to activate all of your skills and whatnot. It's also balanced around the fact that what you soul charge is kind of random, so there are some games where you can maybe just soul charge all your heals or your PGs, and it's like, alright, well, I guess we're just going in all offensive here because I'm obviously not guarding this game, right? But all that aside, it is a rather neat and fun deck. There's a couple of different pieces you can do for it, considering the new like wave of support. There's a lot of different ways to play it. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the newer stuff. We have like the Demented Executioner. This is really good. I tried this out for a bit. I might switch it out for the Succubus that I'm playing here. This grade 2 does the same thing as the Succubus, except it's 80k, or 8k I should say. So it's weaker, doesn't get power. This guy's pretty interesting, but we'll go over that in the like deck build portion. My specific build is a little different from most of the builds that I've seen. Most of them just kind of follow the darkness stuff and just have all the new support, plus like chariots and whatnot. Instead, my build, ironically, this guy was able to do it very easily to get to 10 soul, but my build also gets to 10 soul on my first stride turn pretty quickly. Do I have stride fodder? No, I do not, which is a bit unfortunate. So I'm gonna have to do, let's get rid of one of each, I guess, and keep the other ones. And stride here. So my build, like I said, it's very easily able to get you to 10 soul right away, which, you know, opens up your game plan quite a lot. Because on 10 soul, you automatically get Scharhrot's Stride skill, which puts 2 cards back into your deck from your randomly from your drop zone, which means that you can very easily just massive soul charge from there on out, because you're always going to be putting 2 cards back, right? And once you're at 10, you really just need to get to 13. You don't even have to get to 15, right? I would say maybe 14, just because of your starter. So you just need to put in 3 more cards in your soul, and you're good for the rest of the game. You really don't have to soul charge. Unfortunately, in order to activate Scharhrot's skill, you do have to soul charge every single turn, which is a little bit annoying. Let's play this. Do I have any tigers left? Yeah, let's see if I can get a tiger in the soul. If I can draw, that'd be nice. No, it's a Scharhrot. That's not great. Let's play this for now, just to get a little bit of defensive, and then we're just gonna swing in here, push them to 3. They unfortunately got first stride, so they're gonna hit us pretty hard on the clapback. I could have used Gwen the Reaper. But, well, actually, maybe I should have actually done that, because the next turn I could have them at 4. We'll see how that goes. And I'll go over each of these, as usual, in the deck build portion. Usually how these things go is I just do a fight to sort of give you, like, get your feet wet, and then we go down and break through each card one by one. But what this deck is ironically kind of good in is that it's kind of good in the long run, because it's very good at, for example, whittling down your opponent's resources, making them lose their back row so you have to play more cards. And then it's also very good at actually sniping the grade 3s, because both of your main strides ask for a PG check or a grade 3 to, you know, do a PG. And this one, for example, gets a crit, right, very easily, and power, which is very good. Which means that it makes it kind of difficult for your opponent to actually play the long game, which is ironic considering, you know, it's Darker Regulars, you think you want to end the game as quickly as possible, but that is also kind of one of the weaknesses of this deck, is that you do have to stride like 3 times minimum sometimes to win a game. Sometimes you can win games off of this. This guy might be able to win it off of this, we'll see. No, he shouldn't be able to, because he's going to push me to 4 and I have the grade 3 to discard, so I'm fine. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to stride next turn, which is what I was trying to get at, right? That it does put you into these unfortunate situations. That might help me out. Okay, so I do have something to stride next turn. And it just has this problem that also early on, it's not very good, because you kind of just spend all of your units and your everything is just in order to get to soul charge, but you can't really be super aggressive on, like, aside from, like, the off chances your opponent just doesn't have any, like, intercepts or, like, you know, any of that kind of things, that maybe then you can be a little bit more aggressive early on and push him to 4, but usually the most I can do is push him to 3, which is kind of annoying, because then your next turn you want them to be at least at 4, for example in this situation here. So if you go second, it's great, because you can very easily achieve that, since you get the first stride push, and usually people don't want to play defensives, or sorry, intercepts, because they want to save them for their big turn. But you're basically seeing me and my opponent just do the same thing back to back, except they have the right away, because they can do it before I can. But let's see what they do under next stride turn, because it depends on their G-zone. That is actually pretty cool, because now I can play this and actually get crits. So we might actually be able to push for a game here. Let's see if we can make that possible. Considering what my opponent might do here next turn, we're actually going to play both of our Edge into Darkness. Edge into Darkness is great if you have 10 or more cards in Soul. He actually gets Intercept on your opponent's turn, which is really good. Don't want to use anything here. No, let's not do that. So he actually, he has a booster. I forgot. I'm talking about Edge into Darkness, and then I just realized that my opponent has an Edge into Darkness. So we can try and push for game here, which actually I kind of have to, because next turn I kind of lose. But actually no, I can't do that, because I just need 1 more soul, which is really annoying. Because what I could have done is I could have brought out Enigmatic Assassin for my soul. She says whenever I soul charge at the end of a battle that a unit attack, if I have 10 or more cards in soul, I can bring her out. Whoops, don't want to do that. And then she gets plus 5k. She is 5k base, so she gets 10k. But if you have 13, or actually no, she gets, yeah, and if you have 13 or more cards in soul, she actually gets a nice big 10k boost. She becomes a 20k attacker, which is really nice, right? So you can poke in multi-attack with that. Of course, if your opponent checks a trigger, it is kind of unfortunate, because you can't do anything at that point. Because, you know, 21, 20 doesn't hit over it. But with like any other booster, she can hit 27, which is an automatic PG check, which is really nice. My opponent is just gonna get, okay, I was gonna say they're gonna lose here because they had to discard the Chariot here, but actually we're in a good spot here. They were going to stride, but they're gonna decide not to because they can't really do too much right now. They might not even have the stride fodder for it. Basically this turn is just going to be a whole wash, which is what's really good about Edge in Darkness, is that you kind of make your opponent waste a turn, which is really good for certain decks, right? If they just end up not doing anything for a turn, it kind of sucks for them, because they put in all the emphasis on that one big turn, and then you kind of come back and hit them on the clapback. So now what I can do here is go into the Scharhrot Stride. Now that I've managed to push them to 5, and I should be able to win the game here. Let's see. So we're going to Soul Charge here, which activates our Darkness. Going to Soul Charge Heal, because of course. Let's go ahead and play this here. Let's go ahead and play this here, put back a Chariot in the deck. We actually have the crit there, which is nice. And then we're actually going to play the Wind Ripper that we saved from before. Go ahead and swing in here. I think no matter what, we should have game here. So I can swing in here. I won't use you just yet. Let's go ahead and use this here. Heal Guard, okay. Then now we bring out, doesn't really matter the order, I just like doing it at the last moment. We can bring out our Enigmatic Assassin here, 20k, ask for a PG really quickly. Cool, very nice, love it. Then Scharhrot can come in here. We have to flip anything. If you flip himself, he gets a counter charge, but you flip, put your rear guards front row into soul, retire anything, regardless of resist, retire whole board, doesn't target. And then if you have 13 or more, your opponent has to discard a grade 3 in order to actually guard the attack. Let's go ahead and put this back here. We kind of have to go for this, because if we don't, we lose. So we're going to ask for yet another PG, of which they have 1 left, possibly, which they do have it. There we go. And that's basically your main game plan, right? You want to stride into either one of 2 strides, either this one here, if they have a lot of back row and you want to get rid of it, or the one that I went into that lets you draw 2 if you have 10 or more cards in soul. You go into the Decklist to push, and then you finish up with the Scharhrot. Unfortunately, we're going to get stomped here because we went all in and they managed to have every single guard. You know, they have nothing left, right? So we just have to basically hope we can get like a draw into a defensive or something, which we don't. I don't even think they have anything left. I have a heal that I can hit, but that's not going to really matter, unfortunately. And that's going to be the game. Can't really say too much. We are unfortunately going to heal, which sucks because we only have 1 heal left in deck. So very bittersweet, to say the very least. So sorry about that. The first match was a little bit all over the place, just because like I've been playing this deck a lot. And I've been playtesting a lot. It's the only thing I've played in rank since it's come out, right? So I just have a lot to say about it. But let's just break down my build specifically, and then we'll go over some of the other pieces pretty quickly. So for the starter, we're going to be using Enigmatic Assassin here, as I mentioned. This skill on Soul, it only activates if you have Darkness. Darkness is a keyword for Dark Recklers, which basically just means if you Soul Charge during that turn. I think it's kind of like applied to you as a player, or you as the Vanguard, I'm not entirely sure, but basically, even if like a card is not on the field yet and then you play it, it checks for Darkness, right? But basically, Enigmatic Assassin says here, she doesn't have Forerunner, she stays in the Soul. At the end of the battle that one of your units attack, if you have 10 or more cards in your Soul, you can call her out, and then she gets 5k, so she becomes 10k. Or he, I'm not entirely sure. Then if you have 13 or more, after calling it, right? So that's why you always have to have 14, which is why I said you needed 1 or at least 14, not 15. You can call her out, and she gets, or he gets, they get 10k on top of that, right? So they become 20k, which is very good because it allows you to, 1, on worst case scenario, poke in, swipe and intercept. Best case scenario, push your opponent to 5 or more as for PD check. And then afterwards, you can then put it to the Soul with the Scharhrot Stride and then bring it out again to do the same exact thing. Then for the grade 1s, this has been a little bit difficult for me to sort of figure out because there's a lot of really good grade 1s that you want to play, or there's a lot of these 3 specific grade 1s that you want to see all the time, and finding the right balance has been difficult since you're usually soul charging all of these things, right? So it's kind of hard to figure out ratios for these things, but what I've settled on is 4 Agent of Darkness, 3 of the Were Tiger, 4 of the new PG, and then 2 of the Stride Fodder. So Agent of Darkness is really cool. It's a grade 1, where on Darkness you have 6 or more, this unit actually gets a 3k. So it's a 10k attacker or booster, which is nice. You can swing into intercepts if you don't have anything. But if your soul has 10 or more cards, this actually gets intercept from the back row as well. So you can do 1 or 2 things with this. When you go into your big Scharhrot Stride turn, if your opponent survives, you might be able to have intercepts left, which is nice. But more importantly, it lets you just blank out one of your opponent's turns, right? So stuff like Alt Mile, I'm trying to say the unit, but I keep saying Grand Blue, Night Rose, right? Harry, right? All of these combo decks that just rely on you swiping 2 intercepts and then going to face to start their combo attacks get shut down by one Edge of the Darkness, right? Because if they have to attack a Vanguard to activate their play, this stops them from attacking Vanguard unless they have a way to on-hit rearguard extend their combo, right? Or something like that. Something like Alt Mile can't really do that. They need to swing at face with their 3rd attack, otherwise their combos are shut down. So this is very good. If you play multiple of these, again, you just shut down your opponent's turn or make them waste resources in order to clear it up, right? So it's very good. Using this at pivotal moments is very important. You don't want to just always throw this out, right? You don't want to have this early game either, like just have it as a booster, because then it can activate when you don't want it to, so just keep that in mind. I'm playing 4 here because, again, it's very important. I always want to see this. I usually at most only see 2 of this in a game. Very rarely have I seen 3 or all 4 that I've been able to use, because usually they go into solar damage, right? We're playing 3 copies of the Weird Tiger Jagger here. This card is very good. So, in your soul, if it goes into your soul, other than by riding over it, you can counterbalance 1 to draw 1, which is nice. It's the only thing other than the chariots that actually have an effect in Soul, and I guess the Enigmatic Assassin, but from your deck I'm saying, which is good because you actually draw 1. Then, while it's in your Soul, if you have 6 or more cards and Darkness is active, you can counterbalance 1, discard a card to Soul Charge 1. So if you're 1 card shy of 10 or 13, you can use this to actually get it. However, if you do hit 10, you add this to your hand, which kind of defeats the purpose. But the other good skill for this is that when striding, this counts as a grade 3 if you have 2 cards with Darkness in your Soul, which is very easy to activate. It's only been 1 time that I forgot about this, that you need 2 cards with Darkness. But it's very easy to activate if you just ride him, right? Because you always have the Enigmatic Assassin in your Soul. Then that plus riding this in your first ride automatically have 2. This becomes a grade 3, right? Then the last copy card, grade 2, that I replay here is a Sacrifice of Pure Love. This just searches out Scharhrot. Scharhrot isn't like super essential because your strides don't check for a heart card, but you very badly need 1, his skill to Soul Charge to activate your Darkness for everything else, right? At least in this build. And 2, you need his skill to put stuff back into the deck, sometimes even retire, right? So it kind of really is important that you get it, which is why I'm only playing 2 of these, because I just had to make space for everything, so it's kind of tough here. For the grade 2s, the main core that we have here is 3 of the Chariot. We don't run the grade 1 Chariot because I found that there were just way better weird ones that I can be playing, and it just didn't really give me as much value as opposed to the grades 2 and 3 Chariots. The Hades Carriage of the Witching Hour here, what it does is for each of your Hades Carriage of the Witching Hours, each of itself that's in your soul, this as a rear guard gets plus 2k for each one, and if you have 3 or more, it gets a crit, right? It doesn't get more crits, but it keeps getting 2k and a crit once you have 3, which is great, because you can actually push with this, which is really nice, right? And there's a card that lets you get that in really easily. And whenever you play it on rear guard or Vanguard circle, you duplicate a copy of itself, put it to your soul, which is great. Helps you not deck out. There are times where some games I'll have like 20 cards in my soul and then like still have like 20 cards or 30 cards or something like that in my deck, and then like still have a drop zone or something like that, right? So this helps you out substantially, right? Ideally, you want to ride this as your grade 2 Vanguard, especially if you're going like first. This is perfect because it's in the soul. If you're going first, you're swinging at a 8k or 7k Vanguard, so it actually hits, which is really good. If you're going second, it really sucks because this is 8k and you have to pray for a trigger. Unless they like try to rush you with a grade 1, you can swing into that at least. The other thing that I have here is 4 copies of the Emblem Master. It's a very old card from way back when, but when this hits Vanguard, counterbalance 1, soul charge 3. This is very important that you hit this on your grade 2 turn, maybe your grade 3 turn if possible. But this in combination with everything else automatically gets you to 10 soul on your first stride turn, which is very good because you're live right away. You have all of your skills, right? All your base level skills are active, right? Which is very good. Then we have 3 copies of Gwyn the Reaper. Gwyn the Reaper is good just to let you be aggressive, because this deck has a problem of like actually being aggressive. So this actually lets you get an additional attack at face, which is very nice. And you don't really use your counterblast too much. You do use it, but you don't use it enough, or you're not relying on it enough where you can actually spend 2 counterblasts on this. And the final card we have here is the Cutovus Succubus. I might change this for the Demented Executioner. The only reason I have her instead of him is that Executioner forces you to Soul Charge if you have the cards, whereas her I can choose to Soul Charge, right? But she says on Darkness, one place, you Soul Charge, you counterblast 1, Soul Charge 1. If you have 6 or more, you counter charge. So you Soul Charge 1 for free. And if you have 10 or more, you can draw 2, discard 1. Or you do draw 2, discard 1. You don't have a choice, it just happens. That part isn't as great either. It's useful sometimes, but I don't really like it happening, especially when I'm at 10 or more cards in Soul, because then I don't have a lot of love in my deck. That's the grade 2s. Grade 3s are rather simple. 4 copies of Scharhrot Vampir. His GB2 is actually really nice, but the main skill here is when you stride, you may Soul Charge 2. If you Soul Charge 2, your Vanguard gets 2 abilities. Where at the end of the battle that it attacked the Vanguard, if you're Soul at 6 or more, you can retire your opponent's back row random, or you can power one of your opponent's units randomly from the back row, right? Then if you have 10 or more, you can take 2 cards from random from your drop zone, put them into your deck, which is great. So that's what I said, this deck does a lot, but a lot of it is just random, right? So very somewhat high rolling, but a little bit more controlled than that, right? On place, when it's placed, you get 3K. Let's do all the other strides, or G boss units. Then we have his GB2, which actually is sick, where if you have 6 or more cards in your soul, he actually gets 10K, and if you have 10 or more cards, he actually gets a crit, which is actually really good. You can actually finish games with this if you really need to. Very, very strong. We're going to be playing 3 copies of the Demon Chariot of the Witch's Hour. This is really great. It does the same thing as the Grade 2, except it gives you a copy on place of the Grade 1, Grade 2, and Grade 3. You even get a copy of the Grade 1, even though you don't play it in your deck. It puts it in your deck, which is great. So you automatically play 1 card, get 3 copies of a card in your deck. Very, very essential you play this at least once. At least once, otherwise you will deck out, right? You have to play at least 1 copy of this, like in your game. You have to throw down at least 1, and then you'll be fine. Otherwise, you will deck out. Then the final card we have here, the Grade 3, is this nice little tech card that I found, which is the 9-Brick Hustler. This card is very cool. It's a Grade 3 with 10K, but on your circle, GB1, when placed, put 3 cards from your deck with the same card name as 2 of your units into your soul. It's worded kind of weird. And then this unit gets 1K for each card put into the soul. So what you do with this is you play down your chariots, then you can play down the 9-Brick Hustler, and then you choose 2 units. You can even choose your Vanguard if you have nothing else, or herself, I think. Then you take up to 3 copies of whatever cards you chose, those 2 units, and you put them into your soul. So you get into these situations where you can Soul Charge 6 with this card and automatically activate both chariots that you might have on the field, which is actually really sick, right? And her getting power is fine. Usually I never actually use her to attack with, because usually the things that I have out, I'm going to use those to attack instead, because they're either intercepts or, you know, a chariot that has a crit, right? But the power is nice, right? Then finally, we'll go into the strides. We have obviously Messiah, Link Joes are really bad matchups, so you kind of have to play a copy of this. I have 2 copies of the Mask of Demonic Frenzy Ericus. This is probably going to go down to 1 once I get another copy of the Scharhrot, but the G-Zone is a little bit wonky here. So this stride here says, on Darkness, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you can be Soul Charge 2. And if you do, you get 2 abilities. One says if you have 6 or more cards in your soul, you can retire a back row. And then the other one says if you have 10 or more, you get plus 10k. The Darkness activates automatically if you have Scharhrot, which is very good. And then if you use this with Emblem Master, this plus the other stride automatically gets you to 10 soul, which lets you activate all of these skills back to back, which is really good. You basically only go into this if your opponent has like 2 back rows, or they have like one of those back rows that can't be retired, right? You can try to do this to pink twice. You get 2 chances to kill out, you know, something else, which is very nice. But the other stride we usually go to here is the Love Tempest Kiss Kill Lyra. This is very simple. When this hits, Soul Charge 2, and if you have 6 or more, draw a card. If you have 10 or more, draw another card. Very simple, very good. Usually we always go into this. I'm probably going to get rid of the duplicates here. Sometimes I go into this twice, but usually you don't want to soul charge 2 with your strides, because then that kind of leaves you to deck out. But once I get more copies of these GRs, we'll change up the G zone of it. But ideally, you can get into turns with the Lyra here, where you can retire your opponent's back row, you can draw 2, you can put 2 cards to your opponent from your graveyard back, or your drop zone back into your deck. You can do all of these things, right? It's amazing. And ideally what you want to do, like I said, is you either want to stride into this, or this, depending on your opponent's back row. Then you go into this, Ambabano 1 Gillis de Reyes. This is GB2, very simple. When it attacks Vanguard, you G-flip, flip a copy of itself to get a crit. Then if you have 10 or more, he gets plus 10k. Then you have 13 or more cards in your soul. Your opponent gets the card restrict where they want a Sentinel. They have to discard a grade 3. So you want to get the 10 very quickly, go into this, get your resources, push your opponent to 4, then go into this, maybe close out the game. If not, weaken them out a little bit more, so then you can go into your finisher here in the Scharhrot. 1 Septin Sin Scharhrot here. So this is also GB2. When his unit attacks, count blast 1, turn anything in your G zone face up, to put all of your front row of your guards into the soul, and get 10k until the end of the battle. Then if you have 10 or more cards in your soul, you retire all of your opponent's rear guards. This bypasses resist. So if your opponent has a board full of 3s and then the other grade 3 resists, you can wipe it all out. You can also attack into a rear guard and activate this skill to wipe out all your opponent's units, right? So it's very good. I've actually been able to very cool, very satisfyingly get through the Jingle Flower turn with Scharhrot twice, right? I think maybe even 3 times. It's very cool to be able to just get rid of all that crap. And then they don't really have any other way to bring it back, right? If you flip the copy of yourself up, of this Scharhrot, you countercharge 1. So you don't really need 2 copies of this. I actually want 2 copies of him just to be able to go into him twice, right? So instead of going into the other one, I can go into Scharhrot twice in case it's something like a either something like maybe Royal Paladins where I want to wipe their board, or because they have resist, or for the Neo Nectar matchup. Then he has another skill on Darkness. During the battle, this unit attacked, so you don't actually have to use this skill to get this skill. If you have 13 or more cards, he gets a guard restrict where your opponent has to discard a grade 3 or less, or has to discard a grade 3 in order to Sentinel for that battle, right? So you definitely want to push this to 5, your opponent to 5, go into this, right? And that's basically the deck, right? You go into this, go into this, go into this. Try to use your Enigmatic Assassin, because you can swing in, pop intercepts, bring out Enigmatic Assassin, swing to face, use Scharhrot, put your stuff into soul, wipe the board, ask for a grade 3, then bring out the Enigmatic Assassin again, and then swing in, possibly for game. And that's the main game plan, right? Now let's just go over some of the other pieces. I did mess around with this a little bit. I forgot to talk about the PG here. Succubus of Avarice here. When this is in your soul, if you're in Darkness, you can retire one of your grade 1s on board to add this to your hand. You do minus on soul, which sucks that this doesn't like soul charge to replace yourself, but you do get a PG from your soul, which is nice. It combos really nicely with Spade of Nightmareland as your starter, so it removes the multi-attack, which kind of hurts. But what this does is, first when you ride it, you draw a card and you put a card into soul. So you can put it in like one of your chariots early into soul. Not really the best way to do it, but you can do it, right? Then, when you stride, you actually call this out and you soul charge 1. So it soul charges, replaces itself. If you use Scharhrot, you're in Darkness. What you can do is you can stride, bring this out, soul charge 1, use your PG to then kill this, get a PG to him, right? Which is, okay. That was a nice little combo that I saw, but I would rather just use the Enigmatic Assassin to attack. I haven't used this as much, but it seems okay. And this you can actually use, even though it says Amon's follower, it doesn't matter for any of the Amon stuff, so this is actually something that I've been wanting to mess around with a little bit. Other than that, there was... I've seen people play this grade 1, I don't think it's a very good idea. I guess if you don't have Chariot, you can play this. This just says he gets 9k. He becomes a 9k attacker or booster if you have 10 or more cards in Soul and Darkness. Then at the end of your turn, if you're in Darkness or your Soul has 13 or more cards, you retire him, choose 10 cards at random from your Soul and put him back in your deck. So he's kind of like an option if you're like just really close to decking out, you can just put a bunch of stuff back. Just don't get to that point, use Chariots, right? I think that's the better play. Then we have the grade 2s, which are kind of weird. This is the Executioner that I was talking about. I think he's a very good swap for the Succubus, but the reason I don't use him is because of his second skill. One place, look at the top 7 cards from your deck, put a card with Darkness into your Soul. I don't really play a lot of cards with Darkness because of the Emblem Master and the Chariots and whatnot. But this is very good. This is a free soul charge, you get to choose, and you can do it before you stride, right? It's not locked to GB1, which is very good. Then if you have 6 or more cards in your soul, you can counter boss 1 and get 2k. If you have 10 or more, he gets another 3k, which is good. Because this can actually hit in to, grade 3 Vanguard, which is very nice. This card is pretty interesting, Tragic Crawl. When another unit is placed in the same column as your unit, soul charge 1. For some reason it counts when you ride over it, that still counts, so it activates a soul charge 1. And then if you have 10 or more cards, you get boost, and if you have 13 or more, he gets 2k, so you can actually swing in, but I didn't find that too useful. This is supposedly the strongest version of the Succubus, Flying Librarian, 1 place, counter boss 1, soul charge 2 instead of 1, but she's 8k. And also, if your soul has 6 or more, you draw, but 10 or more you counter charge. Succubus is reversed, right? So if you want to draw more, you can go for this, but typically you don't get to play any grade 1s, because you're usually discarding for stride fodder, or you use your edge in your darkness, but you barely, you don't play that when you need to, right? But I think that's about enough. I think I rambled on enough. Let's go on to another match here. Might actually end up putting out that first match. That took so long to actually explain this, but we'll see how this match goes. We got ourselves a Genesis here. I've actually seen a little bit of Genesis propping up lately for some reason. I guess everyone's excited about the Fafnir support that we're going to receive. This is actually a very interesting hand. We're actually going to put back the Edge in Darkness. And actually get ourselves another short flight, which is nice, because I can use that as stride fodder, or one of the other things you can do is that sometimes you need that one soul, that reach 14, so you can actually, use your Enigmatic Assassin and whatnot. You can just reride your Scharhrot if you have it, which is nice, right? This is a pretty bad matchup for them, just because I can retire their back row, I can shut off most of their turns. They can't really do too much to me, but we'll see. They are going to be able to stride first. This is one of the few decks that doesn't really mind going first. You definitely want to go second, right, obviously, but it's not as bad, because I can still get my stuff in, I can play my chariots, I can set up very easily. So my setup isn't hampered, right? But my kill turns are slowed down, which is a little bit unfortunate. Soul charge was okay, could have been better. I am myself somewhat excited for the turn this a little bit here this way. Hopefully the audio looks fine for all the deck talk that I was doing. Yeah, I think it's fine. I could probably boost it a little bit. I am pretty excited for the new Fafnir stuff, but that's going to be a bit before we get to mess around with that. I messed around with the first wave of support a little bit. It was alright. I don't really want to play anything here, which is a bit unfortunate. So we're just going to swing here. Hope we hit like a heal or a draw. Nope. I could have pushed them to 3, but I don't really have a hand to be pushing right now, right? So I just have to hope that we can get a defensive to slow them down here, but we're more than likely going to push to 5 here. If I can get a draw into a intercept, we'll be in a pretty good spot, because we do have 2 edges in darkness, so we can definitely survive next turn, shut them out, and then catch hope, and maybe win on the clapback, but we'll see how this goes. Probably going to go into the gun guy? No. Okay. That makes sense. They probably don't have anything good in Soul right now. They do now, unfortunately, but this actually, Soul Blast is after it attacks, right? Yeah, so you can bring out the Chamomile and get in some attacks in. But, if they're going to rush me here, 3 damage, or 2 damage before the Vanguard swing, it might not work out, but we'll see. Gonna play the Grapes. The Dreamy Dragon, is it? Dreaming Dragon. In order to put some cards back. Their drop zone. I'm gonna get a heal, which is very nice. More than likely means the Chamomile is not gonna be able to hit. So they'll probably Soul Blast out like the Grapes just to have it as a... I think they can use this skill and also call her out as a rear guard. Just so they have 2 intercepts. And they look at top 3, 2 in soul, 1 in hand, added a heal. And then they're going to use Grepa, not Grapes, just call her Grapes, to soul charge, but not use, okay, the skill to call her out. Alright, that's fine. I guess I can ride Scharhrot and maybe use you to attack with. Let's ride Scharhrot. There's no point in retiring double back row here. As much as I would love to hit, I'd rather draw some cards because I really need some like rear guards or something. Alright, that helps out a lot. So let's go ahead and soul charge here. Not the best soul charge. I think I can actually use Gimme here and actually push because there are 1 damage here. Let's go ahead and play these 2 guys here. So now their turn is going to be relatively quiet next turn because they have 4 intercepts to get through. Let's go and swing in here. That pushes it for 26, which is fine because I can still hit here, which is nice. Wouldn't matter because I got to draw anyways, and it means next turn I can try and close out this game. Unless they get a heal, which they don't, they lose a PG, which is nice. We're going to soul charge a Chariot and a Succubus and draw a Chariot, which is very good. We're going to actually hit the Dreaming Dragon, which is good, and put back a trigger and a grade 2, which is fine. So we can pass on that. And we're in a pretty good spot here. I will probably, I could do the 9-break hustle play. But I only have 1 Chariot. The grade 2 Chariot, unfortunately. I guess I lost some to damage or something? I don't know. I guess I haven't seen the grade 3 Chariot. And I have 1 Chariot in soul. 1 of each Chariot in soul. Actually gonna play this. I feel like this card is really bad. Because it makes you soul charge 3 and like, you deck out so easily with this deck, right? If it was Soul Blast 3 or something like that, it would actually be okay. But I know they have the Wise Man for that. Does he have stuff to retire? Because that's not really gonna do anything. So I'm guessing, judging by the fact that he did that, it means that this hand here is possibly PG's heals and maybe grade 3s to block. So maybe he knows the guard restrict is coming. So, okay. Always like it. If you're playing against them, always kill the Edge in Darkness. Or sorry, always kill the front row. Because as annoying as the Edge in Darkness is, you really don't want me to have a grade 2 with 9k to swing through your grade 2s, right? But I still have 1 intercept left, which is nice. I will have at least 2 by the end of this turn, but we'll see. They did get the Dreaming here. Let's go ahead and go into this, discarding our rare tiger here. See if we can draw into a grade 3 Chariots. We don't. We got a PG, which is actually very nice. We're gonna soul charge here, grade 2s, which is not sure how I feel about that. Do I have Edge in Darkness? I do have 2 of them. I really don't want to soul charge them, to be honest. So maybe we'll just play this here. Because this is forced to, you have to do it. Do I have 1 of her? I don't have 1 of her, and I don't have Scharhrot. I think I can ping Scharhrot. Let's try that. Nope. It automatically checks for what I have in soul, which is a bit unfortunate. Alright, well. Now we have a bunch of soul. I can try and pull out the Enigmatic Assassin here. Just to try and swing in with the crit. But I don't know if that's really worth it. Judging from the hand that they have, I don't know if that's worth it. Oh, I just realized they healed. so maybe I have to do that. Well, I can just push him to 5. I don't really want to lose the Enigmatic Assassin yet. I'd rather push him to 5 and just wait to use it on my Scharhrot turn, right? Yes, because I'm at 3. I have like 2 heals, I think, and 2 heal guards. Or sorry, 2 PGs and 2 heal guards, so I should be able to survive this. Especially if they come back with a big clapback, or I might actually die now. If they swing, shits. Unless they hit me with like a crit or something like that. Oh, I guess, you know, I'm putting 2 cards back, so I might be okay here. As long as I don't hit any of those triggers, we should be okay. I only have a draw and a heal left in deck, which is fine. Because basically what's going to happen is they're going to push me to 5, so I'm going to lose 3 cards, and I'm going to draw 1. So I'm going to have 2 cards left in my deck, so if I soul charge, I lose. And also means I have no way to activate Darkness if I don't soul charge, right? So hopefully they just push me, and I have, if I can just have 1 card left in soul, I can use the Chariot to stabilize. Well, let's see how this goes here. They didn't go for their GR, so I guess they're not ready for a kill turn here, which is good. Which means they might only push me to 4. And if I can get a draw trigger, or maybe if I get the heal trigger, that'll actually slow them down, I think. Maybe. Only push me to 3, but we'll see. Soul Blast 3 here. Just Chamomile. It doesn't seem like they're playing any of the Retired Girl. I'm not a big fan of that girl, but there's just not really a lot of options. Yeah, they must have all PGs in hand. They keep using their skills to get intercepts. Is my bet here. So they probably have maybe the 1 heal guard and 3 PGs in hand, which is a bit rough. I don't know if I can break through that in this turn. He doesn't have any multi-attack, so he's just going to swing once unless he gets a standard crit. Which they don't, so we're in a good spot here. They also have a couple of grade 3s left in deck. It's a bit obnoxious, to be honest. See what we draw. We draw the Wind Ripper, which is actually pretty good. I don't think I can actually finish it this turn, but we'll see what we can do. If I had the Chariot with a crit, nah, it wouldn't really matter. I'm gonna draw that. So we're gonna soul charge here. Alright. We soul charge the draw trigger, which is good. Let's go ahead and use this to put back 3 cards. If I hit the draw, I might be fucked. But we'll see how things play out. I kind of have to do this here, where I retire this. Oh, but now I can't use Scharhrot skill because I only had 3 damage. Ugh, I still get the guard restrict. I just can't retire his board and get a big multi-attack. I can ask for PG checks if I put down... I mean, I'm gonna die next turn, right? So I might as well put this down. Because, no matter what, I'm gonna die. If they just push me twice, I'm dead, right? Let's go ahead and bring this out here. What I can do is I can swing in here, pop the heal guard, swing in here, pop PG, swing in here, I get the guard restrict at least. Okay. And hopefully they have the grade 3 up, and there's the PG. That's what I figured. Yeah, they've been holding out this whole game. Unfortunately, I do get to retire that, put that back, and I do have 3 guards in hand, but we'll see how this goes. If I survive this turn, I can just try and go with the Scharhrot GB2 and win, but unfortunately, yeah, they just drew all their PGs and they just had all the answers right now. They maybe even had that last PG, because they have 1 PG left here. Let's see what they're going to go for. They had another grade 3. Yeah, so they just had all their grade 3s ready, which is good for them. They had the read. Soul charge 3. Let's see if they can end it here. if I don't hit the chariot, I think I'm fine. Oh, they're gonna... Okay, so I guess they have a PG and another grade 3 in hand, maybe? I don't have any more guard restricts, bro, so that's kind of a... It doesn't really matter too much, but...
Generation break.
If I had gotten the extra attack in with the Enigmatic Assassin, like I had the counterblast, I might have been able to push the game that turn. But who knows? And now he is going to Soul Blast. Oh, he doesn't have the 6. He has a Soul Blast 6 for his skill. Unless he did it already. Oh, now he has a 6, alright. Wow. There we go. Calling out a full board here. If I get the draw trigger, I might stop both these attack. But we'll see what he checks, if he got anything. I don't think he could have gotten anything, yeah. So if I get the draw trigger here, I might be in a good spot, but no, I don't. So I'm gonna have 2 cards, draw 1, put 1 back. But if I don't draw into the chariot, I lose. I lose. I just straight up lose. I obviously can't strike because I will lose. Let's go ahead and retire this. Put this back. Hopefully that... It doesn't matter which order it happens in. I die no matter what happens here, huh? That sucks. That absolutely sucks. Yeah. It's funny that we're both decks that are known for decking out, and this guy played the long game, and I was talking about how this game can play the long game, and he got it. Because I'm gonna hit the draw. Oh wait, no, I stole charged it already. Never mind. I thought I had another. Whoops. I remember I put a chariot back, but I guess I soul charged it last turn. Because I played this chariot. I'm so confused. I played the chariot. And I got a chariot in the deck.
Generation break.
Very strange. Alright, I should still be dead here, right?
I
had the Dreaming Dragon and that in hand, alright. Yeah, so I think if I had the Enigmatic Assassin, if I saved the Enigmatic Assassin, I would have won. He has no triggers, nothing left. He can multi-attack here. If he has like a Chamomile, which he doesn't, so he can get 1 column. And then I might be able to win next turn. Just barely, depending on what he gets here. Yeah, because he can get this. If it was a Chamomile, he would have killed me. Oh, just that? He's not going to get the other one? Oh, he doesn't have the stride. That's right. The stride skill is that gives him another one. So, never mind. Alright, so I'm going to draw a chariot here. He's going to put back a bunch of stuff. Draw 1. Possibly PG. Alright. We're going to not stride again, obviously. Put this chariot. This chariot has been saving my life here. We're gonna put this down in case for whatever reason we survive this turn. And we're just gonna go here. They can't put back heals. So that's actually gonna be the game. That was the weirdest match ever. There's the PG that they tried to draw. That was actually really good. They played really well. Kudos to them. But that's not how these videos are usually go. But in any case, take care of yourself.